ladies and gentlemen, Fireman Dan here. Welcome back to another episode of Space Engineers. So, today, I thought we would cover, well, probably what's next in the list that you need to know after power, and that would be production. How to make things, how to make components, and cargo storage. And there are two mods I'm also going to cover today, if I actually remember to put them in the mod list. Yep. This is the stone crusher, and this is a gravel sifter. And I'm going to do those last, but they are like some of the two mods that I think are must-have that you really should use, and I'll explain why when we get there. So, first, whenever you start a new game, all you're going to have is a survival kit. And this is the large grid version of it. And you'll have a small grid version on your rover, moon rover, your Earthlander, or wherever you decide to start it. Now, how does this work? How do you make things? Well, first off, you got to mine the ground, obviously, or ore. And there are two ways to do that. You got your hand drills, and you got your ship drill. Now when you first start out, you'll have the regular hand drill. And what you do, you come over here, any ground anywhere, and you mine the ground. And as you see, it drops these little clumps of stone. Go and press F and pick them up. Now with both drills, with the hand drill and with the ship drills, you can right click to mine, or left click with your left mouse, left mouse button to mine, right click with your right mouse button to mine. When you use the left click, that actually produces your ore, right? When you right click, it doesn't produce ore. The difference is, left clicking does a smaller surface area, but it produces ore. Right-clicking mines a larger area, but it does not produce ore. So that's a little hole with ore, not that big. And that's a quickly, with the right-click, there's no ore. You can see the difference. So if you need to do a large area for whatever reason, an underground base or something, you can do it quicker with the right click. But if you need the ground, do it with the left click. So, back to the survival kit. You take the stone and you throw stone in there. Well, throw stone in there, right? Go over here. Production, survival kit. See, I got a basic assembler and an assembler on here. You want the survival kit. And right here it says ingots. Just queue up some ingots. And that is going to produce your ingots. It will make gravel, iron, nickel, and silicone. Only those four. Out of these four, you can make this. Now, if you see right here where it says nickel, I don't have enough nickel. Well, I didn't put that much stone in there. But if I were to go back and put some more stone in there, I can make some more ingots. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to put some more stone in there. Production, survival kit, times 100, and it'll start chewing through this. As you see, these came off the red, and that means I have enough to produce whatever it is I want to make. So I can go ahead and make one motor. There you go. Now I have one motor in my inventory. If I come back and I look in the inventory, under survival kit, there's my motor. That's all survival kit can do. It's not much. Not much, but it'll get you started. From the survival kit, you will upgrade to to the basic assembler and the basic refinery. Basic refinery can refine iron, cobalt, nickel, silicon, and magnesium. And this is a little off-putting because if I come over here to basic assembler, under production, on the basic assembler, you can see under the medical components right there on the right-hand side, or excuse me, right in the middle, it says it requires silver ingots. Okay, no problem. Silver, silver. If I try to put silver in here, basic refinery cannot find silver. So once you upgrade from the survival kit, you get your basic assembler, basic refinery. It's just the same thing, but the difference is instead of mining stone, you have to actually go out in the world and find the ore to physically throw in here. And you find the ore with ore detector. Ore detector. Now if I throw this on here, you're not going to see anything because I don't have an antenna or I don't have a seat. But if I throw a control seat down, jump in here, come into ore detector, turn the range up. Now you can start seeing. In this specific area, I got silicon right below me. I got nickel over there. I get iron over there. That's it. So I would go out. I would mine that silicon. I would mine that nickel. I would mine that iron. And I would also need, remember, I would need cobalt. And that would be good. Magnesium is only really needed for weapons, and depending on how you're playing, you really don't need magnesium. If you want weapons, yeah, you definitely need it. And then you throw that in the basic refinery, and it automatically does, well, it does it on its own. I'll show you here. So let's find, let's go with iron. Spawn into targeted container. It didn't spawn in there. Okay, so let's do it this way. Iron, spawn. Oh, that's why. Spawn. Iron ore. Duh. Iron. And it automatically refines it. And you don't even have to do anything. From there, you would take this right here, your ingots, feed them into your assembler by your connectors, which we'll get into that with the cargo. And then under production, under basic assemblers, you build your components that you need to build with. Now, I should also note that up here, you can also produce tools as well. So you can make oxygen bottles if you're in space. You can make hydrogen bottles. Enhanced welders, enhanced drill, enhanced grinders. And the enhanced stuff means they just work faster. And yes, they are useful. Now once you go from the basic assembler and basic refinery, you go to the standard assembler, which can make everything. It's all your tools, all your components, and this is all vanilla, by the way. Or I can come in here and say, okay, I want to make one cockpit and one camera, and you can just click it. It'll automatically queue up the components needed to make that specific block. And this is small block, and this is large block. So I come in a large block and say, I want to make a sliding door. Boom, everything's right there. And from the basic or the regular assembler, you also have the regular refinery, which can refine everything. And this is automatic. You just feed the stuff in there and it does it on its own. Lastly, in the backpack here, you got the modules. You got your speed module, you got your production module, and you got your power efficiency module. And that is exactly what it sounds like. If you look on the right down here, speed module, it just increases the production speed of refineries or assemblers. So speed modules I love them on my assemblers because it means I can produce things quicker. And I love them on my refineries because it can refine ore quicker. The yield module increases production yield of refineries when connected. Note, refineries, not assemblers. So instead of, say, and I don't even know what the numbers are, but let's say 1 kilogram of stone or of iron produces half a kilogram of iron ingots. This could make it 1 kilogram of iron ore makes 0.75 kilograms of iron ingots. Those are probably not the right numbers, I'm just throwing that out there, but that's what it does. I love to throw these on my refineries as well. And you're probably better off to throw 2 speed on the assemblers and 4 yield modules on the refineries. Power efficiency just makes them use less power. If power is an issue, then yeah, you can put them on, but I normally never touch them. Now, where do these go? If you look on the back here, you see these 2 little yellow squares, right? Two little yellow squares. On your assembler, on each side, you got 2 little yellow squares. That's where these go. So keep that in mind whenever you are making your assemblers and whenever you're building them, because if you were to go like this, right? Make a line of assemblers, well, guess what? This one can only have 1 on. This one can't have none on. This one can't have none on. This one can't have none on. And there are little blocks at the top, and you could lay them sideways, sure. But put them on the side. So instead of building it this way, build it this way. And then you can put a line of your modules down the front, and down the back. On the back of the refineries, same thing. You got 8 blocks, so 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, and 4. Or you can do it the other way, 1, 2, 3, 4, just however you want to do it. So that's where they go in the back of the refineries. Alright, moving on. Next is cargo. So you got small cargo container and you got large cargo container. Small grids get medium cargo containers, but I ain't gonna go into that right now. So, how does this work? Well, put stuff into it. That's all. And if you pipe everything together, the components could come out of there, come into here automatically if it fills up. You may have to move them yourselves. You can move cargoes around how you want to do it. And that's where sorters come in, but we'll talk about that here in a second. So if I want to move from here to the large cargo containers, I don't have to take this stuff out and then run over here and throw it in the large cargo container. If I come into here, right, this main small cargo container, I named it that just so I knew what it was. And let's find it here. Where is it? Large cargo container. That's a large cargo container. I can go from here to here and bam. Now if I look, there's nothing here. But if I go back to here, it's in here. So that's what the conveyor tubes are for, which I've discussed that in a block video. Now over here in the sorter, I've also just talked about these conveyor sorters. So right now, this is set to do nothing. So let's take this iron back out. Put it back in. Now the way conveyor sorters work, stuff can only move in one direction through them. And that's where this arrow, see this arrow is pointing this way? So it has to come from this side and through this side. And you can put whatever you want on either end, right? So instead of putting conveyor tubes, I could have connected this straight to a cargo container. I could have piped this into the refineries. I could have piped this into the assemblers, whatever. And here's why these are useful. You can sort cargo with sorters with without having to use scripts. So let's say this specific cargo container, I wanted all of my ore into it. Or, I got ingot in there. I want all my ingots in this cargo container. It's organization's easier to find stuff. So I would come into here, right? Whitelist, and we'll turn on ingots. Now right now that's not going to do anything except a lot of them pass through. So if I go through here, small cargo, sorter cargo, that's what I named it. And it goes down to large cargo container. I can put all my stuff into there. But remember when I said it only goes one way. If I try to take it back, I cannot take it back. Because it only allows it to go one way. If I wanted to come back out of here, I would have two options. A, I would run another pipe from there to here. Or B, I could put another sorter here. Why would I want to put another sorter here? Well, with this, if I turn drain all on, which is how you can sort everything, this will suck all the ingots from throughout my grid through here and into this cargo container automatically, right? So watch this. Now watch it disappear whenever I drop this. Any second now. Bam. Sorter automatically deposited everything in here. So why is this good? Not only can you sort cargo with it, which I normally don't use sorters, I usually use scripts, which that's another topic. But you can do that with your refineries. And instead of you, and it can automatically push ore into your refineries. So let's try this. I believe the refineries automatically pull the ore in no matter what. So let's do some platinum. Yep, it automatically pulls it in. So you can do that, and you can only set it to say, well, I want this refinery working on iron, and I want this refinery working on, I don't know, cobalt. And the reason you want to do that is these refineries can only process one type of ore at a time. So if I were to put iron right here, it would have to finish the platinum before it could refine the iron. So let's go ahead and do that just to show you. Platinum ore. And let's do silver. See, it has to take care of the platinum before it can finish off the silver. But if you got several refineries going, you may not want all your ore coming into just this refinery. Because if all your ore is sucked into this refinery A, you could have refinery B and refinery C, but nothing gets put into there. So if you use a sorter, say throw it into the top up here, have it come into the top, this refinery can refine iron, and you can put several ones. So let's say we'll put iron and cobalt on A, silver and silicon on B, and magnesium, platinum on C, uranium on D, such and such, and yada 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 all the way down the line. So you can have each refinery sort different ore. The trick is when you put it in the top, you have to have a second one coming out of the bottom. Because if I were to come in here, let's go ahead and do this here. There and so if I were to do it like this, nothing can come out of the top now. It all has to come out of the side port or the other side, but it all has to come out of the side port. So if I take this and put this straight into the rest of my system, Well, this sorter is pretty much useless now because everything can come in and out no matter what. So it's not going to refine strictly a certain amount of ore. So if you do this, out, same thing. Allow this one to draw in iron. Allow this one to draw through iron. Your iron ore can come in and your iron ingots can come out. So I would tell this one to whitelist. We'll use cobalt ore. It's right there. Cobalt ore. And this one to whitelist cobalt ingot. So now my cobalt ore can come in here, get refined, and now exit the refinery as a cobalt ingots. Okay. Then you can do the same thing with the cargo containers. Except this one, say, ingots in, ingots out. So nothing but ingots can get in here. Same thing with ore. Ore in, ore out, or components. Components in, components out. That's how you can move stuff around. Cargo sorters are very useful. The other thing you can use them for is, if I put this on drain all, whitelist, let's take that off, whitelist, ore, and put a connector on the top of this. Now, whenever you take a mining ship and dock a mining ship to this, this sorter will automatically pull all of the ore out of your miner without you having to do it manually. So all you gotta do is come over, dock, wait a couple seconds, undock, and fly off. And this sorter will automatically pull everything out of your miner and dump it, well, anywhere. You can dump it in your refinery. In this case, it'll go into the refinery. But if I were to take it off of here, and pipe it into the rest of my system, and I put this like way up here or way over there somewhere, that can dump it anywhere. But it don't matter if it dumps it anywhere, because if you have something like this set up where it allows ore through here or ore through here, it'll automatically get sucked over. But you also don't have to do it that way. If I were to put this on ore and drain all, like I was just telling you, right here into the cargo container, and from the cargo container out to the rest of your system, by docking to any connector anywhere on your base, this sorter will automatically pull all the ore out of your ship that could be docked way over there on that hillside, on your big ass space that you just built, and it can stuck it into your cargo containers. So sorters are very, very useful for moving cargo around, whether it be components, ingots, ore, and it can also pull stuff out of ships. In this case, I'm talking about your miner. Excuse me. Now it can also pull things into your ships. So if you were to put these before your reactor on, say, your miner ship that we're just talking about, or your fighter, or whatever, and whitelist uranium and drain all, every time you dock to your base, it will automatically refill your reactor with uranium without you ever having to touch nothing at all. And same thing for your weapons. Let's say you got Gatling guns on your ship, or your fighter. You can put these before your fighter and tell it to whitelist the ammo boxes, and it will automatically push ammunition into your Gatling guns, or your reloadable missile launchers, or whatever. And you never have to touch anything. These sorters will do all the work for you. All you gotta do is come back to base, dock up, and walk away from it, and you got nothing to do. It's kind of like an automation type thing. So that's moving cargo around and sorters. Up next, this is just the same exact thing as all this, except it's just a small grid version. The difference is, the small grid versions, you got, this is your small cargo containers, a little 1x1x1, this is your large cargo container. And there's also medium. The difference between all this and all that is these. These are very small cargo conveyors. These are the large cargo conveyors. What is the difference? Small cargo containers, or excuse me, small cargo conveyors cannot transport everything. And what I mean by that is, I think steel plates is one of them that cannot be moved around. So let's pull up some steel plates here. Steel plate. Spawn into targeted container. So I got steel plates, right? Now let's go to small. Here's my other small cargo container. See that? They cannot move. Because steel plates cannot pass through this little block. Some components can, and I can't remember the full list. But not everything. However, ore can go through this, and ammunition and uranium. If you want to know beforehand whether it can pass through or not, just do what I did here. Simple double it up and try it. So let's pull this out and we'll put stone in. Stone, see, ore can go back and forwards, right? Let's pull up. Let's pull up nickel ore. Nickel ore can go through it. Ammo. This is for their Gatling guns. Ammo can go through it. I know uranium ingots can, so you can use these for your reactors as well. Now, if I come up to here, watch this. So here's my little large cargo, back and pass through it. So the rule of thumb I follow, if I'm going to be working with components, like a welding ship or a grinding ship, I use these, the big ones. If I'm going to be making a miner or a fighter where I need to move stuff around, like ammunition or uranium and stuff around, you can use the small ones. But anything with components wise, use the big version. Anything cargo wise or uranium wise or an ingots wise, use a small version. And what do I mean by big and small? Small conveyor tube, right? Small conveyor tubes. And then your regular conveyor tube. This is just a small one right here. Now lastly, there's this right here, this cargo conveyor frame. The reason this... Oh, come on, stand up. They don't want to cooperate. But if you notice, these little blocks are one by one. If, depending on how you build this cargo container can be one little block too far away. So that if you throw this on here, that gives you the space you need to bridge your little gap. Let's see, mining. I know we talked about mining, but alright, I'll throw this on here. There's my miner, right? My starting miner. I can select for, right click to mine. Right, so right click to mine with ore. Right, so with ore, stone, or left click, sorry. But if I use the right click, see how it's a much bigger area? Same thing with the hand drill. Now lastly, the two mods I wanted to talk about and why they're very helpful. Stone crusher, gravel sifter. Stone crusher and gravel sifter. The stone crusher mod. This takes all stone, takes stone and turns it into ore. Just like your survival kit, how the survival kit would take stone and turns it into ore, but only a few things. Stone crusher takes stone turns it into all the ore in the game. Now, it's not much per ore. As you see, all these numbers aren't going up very much, but that's because you're taking one thing and turning it into what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 different items. So you can just mine out, instead of having to go out and find individual ores, you can just mine out that entire hillside, stick it all in here, and it will make all your ore. And from this, you take this ore and throw it in your refinery to make ingots. So I know this may sound a little cheaty, but I like it. This is one of my go-to mods. The catch is, like I said, it doesn't produce much, right? So if you need a lot of iron, you'll still have to go out and find an iron vein to get a lot of iron. But this helps you in a pinch, right? So like you can get uranium. Like I say, there's no uranium on the planet at all. You have to go up to space. But if you put down the stone crusher mod, you can make uranium slowly. I'm going to go ahead and grab this gravel. Now the gravel sifter, I know it says assembler on here, but it's a gravel sifter. The only thing gravel is useful for, really, is to make reactor components. And someone's probably going to comment and say, no, you can make this with gravel, but what I'm remembering, the only thing gravel is useful for is to make reactor components. So unless you need to make a reactor, take your gravel, and it does the same exact thing. It makes ore. Same thing, but it's a much smaller value because you're taking something big, turning it into 11 things, and out of one of those 11 things, you're trying to take it and turning it into 11 things again. Well, 10 things, you're not making gravel. So that is how you can take these two mods, the Stone Crusher mod and the Gravel Sifter mod, can help you with resources. It's more of an efficiency thing, I guess you can put it that way. You can mine out some stone, turn it into ingots, and take one of those ingots and sift it down even further and turn it into even more ingots. So to recap, start off with your survival kit. Then you go to your basic assembler and refinery, which can only make a couple of things. The basic refinery and basic assembler, you can go to your full assembler and your full refinery. You got your modules to boost your efficiency. You got your cargo containers, cargo sorters can help move stuff around. On a small grid, small conveyor tubes can only handle certain items. And then the mods, your stone crusher and your gravel sifter, are very helpful with taking regular stone and turning it into ingots. Well, ore then ingots. And in order to get all of this, you got to go out into the world and mine. And you got either the hand drill or you got a regular miner. You use your hand drill will show you where you're at if you're close to it, which I think is only a few meters, so you got to get relatively close with the hand drill. But the ore detector can pick it out for you, as you see. So if you build a miner, don't do what I did and just throw on a drill. Throw on a ore detector as well. I know I rushed just a little bit, but I was trying to get the information out there for you in the shortest amount of time possible. And production isn't really that complicated. So I can come into here, or I can come into even here, into the deceit. I go into production, I can select whichever one I want. I go into assembler, basic assembler, survival kit. Or if you got 5 assemblers, you'll have 5 assemblers in the line here. I can select whichever one I want and make whatever I want. Clicking once makes 1. Holding control click makes 10. Shift click makes 100. Control shift click makes 1,000. All at once. Moving cargo around. Where do I have cargo? Where do I have cargo? Where do I have cargo? If I move this with a hold down, let's do it this way. Left click and drag moves it all. Right click and drag brings up this number, and I can select how many I want to move around. Alright, that'll be all, folks. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Space Engineers and, well, production. Have a good day, folks. Bye.